Make sure my glasses are at least somewhat clean here. Boom, 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 boom. Wow, we're getting strong. Okay, yeah. Looks like we're live. Let's see how long. I wonder. Let's see. Interesting. Well, I tell it to have. Uh, I don't know if I want to do that. Okay, alright. I just wanted to see if I could reduce the delay that is present when I do these streams. But it's already set to 0, so whatever natural ping there is, plus any delay that they might just hard code in there. I don't know. I do not know that much about Twitch. I ought to learn more, but I find myself just wanting to play games, you know? Oh. Let's see. This says that I'm not live yet. Maybe I need to move around a little bit. Well, I'll be live soon, and well. Oh, good. I have news that I am live. Excellent. So I guess I'm just waiting at this point on being able to see you guys or read what you're saying, because I do like to do that. There we go. Excellent. All right. I guess I got it just before I went live. Have to watch an ad on my own channel before I can see what you're saying. But welcome everyone. I think we did a reasonable amount of inventory maintenance last time, but I don't know. I don't want to scroll up Amnesia, for example. Everything else is fine. Okay, so what are we doing? We have 2 runes, the Serpentine Rune of Zot and the Barnacled Rune of Zot, from the Snake Pits and the Shoals, respectively. We have 26 Scrolls of Identify. Whee! That used to be kind of nice because sometimes, back in the day, ziggurats used to demand items to enter, and so sometimes you'd have to donate it 20 Scrolls of Identify to get in. It was very frustrating. They changed that, though. I think now they changed it from items to just gold. Or maybe, no, items is the treasure trove. That's right. Ziggurats used to be gold, and now you just have to have a certain number of runes. I think you have to have 5 runes? Surely not. I don't know. You need some number of runes to get in, I believe. I don't bother to attempt them until I have at least 3 runes anyway, so. And really, I probably wouldn't bother until I have at least 5. Okay, so what will we do now? We have available to us the remaining few levels of the vaults. A couple dungeon levels. All of the depths. Though the depths are dangerous enough that I would kind of actually want to clear at least one more level of the vaults before we do that. We can do the slime pit at some point. Slimes. And we poked our heads in there and just got destroyed. I think we tried to do it at level 14 or something. Much lower than we are now, which is level 21. We're getting up there. We're getting strong. Okay. I like all of these things that we're doing. I like crossbows the least of what we're doing, though. Let's turn that off for now. Well, we'll turn it off. Let's turn it off at 14, boosted. Because that way it'll probably be around 10 unboosted. I want to be able to, in the off chance that we abandon Ashen's or lose a bunch of piety with Ashen's lose out on some of the bonuses, I would like for our base crossbow skill to be around 10. Doesn't have to be exactly 10, but around there. Around that point. Yeah, okay. Spells. Jukima's Dance is the last one we added, and I really like it. It's fun. It is affected by the magic resistance of the creature you're casting it on, however, not the weapon that they're wielding. So it's as resistible as any other hex. But our hex's skill is reasonably powerful. So, and also, generally speaking, this is not universally true, but generally speaking, things that are wielding weapons are not also, well, I think here's what it is. If something is scary because it is wielding a weapon, it generally doesn't have a whole lot of magic resistance. If I was going to dabble in throwing, what's the highest I would want to raise it? Throwing is hard for me to evaluate because they changed all range skills as a 0.15, so everything's a little bit better, I believe, or at least the curve is more even. Throwing is better in 0.15 as a result, I believe. If you're playing before 0.15, I would not ever raise it past 7 or 8. Unless, what is it? Oh, right, unless you're using a blowgun, which I think it's the blowgun that uses the throwing skill. And blowguns, yeah. Yeah, because otherwise you're just paying experience for damage in weapons that aren't really effective past the layer. I don't know. Again, it's probably just because I haven't used it a great deal. I think if you find a ton of javelins or some javelins of returning, then it's worth putting points into. If there are secondary effects that you're trying to proc with your thrown weapons, then no more than 8, unless you're also using a blowgun, in which case it's very, very nice to have your needles trigger their effects. Sort of the assassin background, I would put points into throwing. And also, the big thing in 0.15 that is not true in prior versions is that cross-training happens directly and not... it happens automatically. You get experience in the cross-trained skill instead of just getting a boost in aptitude to the trained skill until it reaches the same level. So you directly benefit from putting points into throwing in your slings score. So if you're playing a sort of a quiet ranged assassiny stealthy type, if you put points into throwing until like level 8 or so, then you find an awesome sling. And now that there are great slings in the game, slings is more powerful in the mid to late game than it used to be. You'll have a few points in that already for free, a few levels, which is really cool. Otherwise, if you're not doing any of those things, if you're just a fighting type background, if you don't have access to spells or evocations, and you just want to be able to throw some stuff, I would put just 2 levels into it. Yeah, I would say about 2. And, I mean, if you go higher, it's not like it's going to ruin the rest of your game. It's just you're going to slow down your development in other areas in order to increase the damage of just thrown objects that aren't boosted by any kind of base weapon damage. And that's really the thing, is that the reason why bows and crossbows and slings are more powerful is because not only do you have effects on the ammunition that can vary your type of attack and damage amount and whatnot, but you also have variation on the weapon itself. It can be enchanted, it can be an artifact, whereas you don't find artifact javelins. Artifact blowguns, though, are a thing, and they are cool. So if you are an assassin type, one interesting way to play is to go assassin, but instead of worshipping something like Dithmenos, which is really fun, I highly recommend Assassin of Dithmenos. Just removes the need to really cast that many spells, and it's very strong, I think, though it doesn't preclude you from spellcasting. The other option you can take is to go a stealthy, stabby type character, but worship Okawaru, and just get gifted a bunch of stuff, and then once you get gifted a bunch of stuff, and it becomes kind of hard to maintain piety with him because you're taking more time to. And I also no, that's the shining one. Never mind. Right, so you get gifted a bunch of stuff. You can get gifted really cool blowguns. You get gifted a ton of needles, and then you switch away from him in the late game to something like, or in the extended end game rather, like post Zot. When you get to Pandemonium and the Hells, you can switch over to the Shining One. Well, the Shining One still might not work. You could switch over to something else. Shining One doesn't like it when you stab things. It's honorable. Even though the Heaven Pandemonium level, it's the level with the temples, the primary temples of Zin, Alevelon, and the Shining One. And boy, it is difficult. It's a giant Pandemonium level with just 3 separate but somewhat overlapping areas that are just stuffed full of really difficult characters. Really difficult enemies. Angels and devas and cherubim and seraphim and really scary stuff, especially if you're a demon spawn. I think there is a rune in it, though. No, that's not true. There is not a rune there. There's just a bunch of treasure. Right, so, bolts. I think we did think about spells, and we're doing okay with... what are you doing here? Oh, I don't want to be using poison bolts against a zombie. Let's go for steel bolts. Steel bolts are really good. They have a much... Okay, good. They have a greatly reduced chance of being destroyed when you fire them, and they... I'll just put it... they do more damage. It's pretty cool. It's the damage increase... Oh, wow. Huh. Damage increase is similar to that of the velocity or crushing brand, but the reduction of destruction is cool. Okay, so let's just do this, and then fire off a couple. Yeah, that seems good. And then back up, let our zombies do a little bit of work. Not too much, it seems. I guess those weren't very powerful zombies. Alright, cool. Okay. Alright, so we have come down these stairs, I guess. Let's try out the other staircases. I don't want to save the game and exit. I want to find another down staircase. We're not We're not anywhere near done streaming. I'm gonna stream until my voice gets tired. Is what I've decided for today. Which is why I'm trying to stay hydrated here. What are these? 23 volts. An Iron Brand Convoker. Okay. Let's see what's up this way. Alright. Ugly thing. I would rather do this. I would rather... And a very ugly thing. Ooh, very ugly things are more dangerous than ugly things. Just seems like a truism, but... The otherworldly spawn of a wizard's breeding experiments. Double yuck. It is vulnerable to silver and hated by Zin. Yeah, Zin hates mutation and unpure things. The final gift of Zin at the 6-pip Zin piety reward is a one-time cure of all mutations that you have. It's pretty sweet. It only works once though. Hey Genja. Yeah, it's Saturday. I don't have work, so I just spent the morning with my dad, my sister, and then spent the early afternoon with my girlfriend, and then she went to work, and now I'm just hanging out, enjoying a really, really nice Saturday. Good to see you. Hope I hope that it's enough earlier that you can watch a little longer than you normally do. You are an avid viewer, and I'm sorry that I generally stream close to your bedtime. I would love to get off work earlier, but alas, for now that is impossible. Ooh, I made a mistake there. I should have moved forwards towards this choke point. Let's see, can we do this? Yeah, that seems okay. Did I quiver the silver bolts? I meant to quiver the silver bolts. Here we go. Yeah. I'm not particularly worried because right now they're doing cold damage. We do have a pip of cold resistance. Oh, okay. Wow. All right. So very, very late where you are. So that would make it, let's see, you're at 17, you're 1650, so you're 7 hours ahead. So you're in Europe somewhere. Like that would I don't know if I can't remember if that's Western Europe or Eastern. Uh, I want to say 7 hours is Western Europe. I think it's further than England. I'm pretty sure. Germany, cool. A very good friend of mine is in the military and is stationed in Germany, has been for a few years, in Spangdahlem. Or I'm sure I butchered the pronunciation of that. Spangdalem or something like that. I want to say it's in the northern part of Europe. Let's just do. It's not really a better spot for him. Maybe there. That seems fine as well. Not to say that I'm assuming that you are American in the military. I assume that you are German, but that I could also be incorrect in that. I thought Germany was really cool when I visited. I went to Frankfurt for a day and saw the Museum of Natural History, which I thought was just fantastic. One of the coolest museums I've ever been in. And uh, then went to Rotenburg Abdo Tower, also probably butchering that pronunciation, but it's the sort of preserved medieval, or not medieval, but old. Yeah, I think it's medieval. Really old wall. 30 minutes away from Frankfurt. Cool. Very cool. Alright. Got the very ugly thing. That was a pretty tough battle, but I did, because of the positioning mistake I made, um, it was not really an ideal setup. So I think that had I gotten up to here and gotten it to a soft choke point, I mean soft in that they can step beyond you, and will eventually, if there are other monsters of the same type, I think it is, or maybe even just other monsters in general, they'll tend to step through eventually. Sometimes you can abuse that, like if it's around a corner like this, if you're standing here where the red cursor is, if you're standing here and there are monsters here and here, um, this monster where the cursor is now will eventually step here to let the next one move up, and you get a free turn of attacks. It's very nice. Oh, that is fantastic. Oh, that is really cool. I Were you involved with that? That just sounds so exciting. I don't know how much that impacted the city or the area, but one of the coolest things that I have seen in my lifetime. Very, very fantastic. I'm sure that there are really awesome scientific discoveries that happen every day that I miss, but as far as the big flashy ones, like the ones that you expect to be big and flashy and then, actually are big and flashy, it exceeded my expectations. Weren't involved. No, but I mean, I would have been super duper jealous if you had been. What what is it that's good against boulder beetles? I think they might be susceptible to poison. Yeah. Yeah, these are really interesting enemies. They're not super difficult by themselves. Huh. That sounds like a really cool place to live. I Awesome. That's really neat. I I don't know. I Science has always been more of a sort of a hobby field for me. Not I've never done anything really serious with it, but I love it. I just all the mathematics and the all that business. Anyway, boulder beetles have very high armor class. When they get rolling, I think they may do more damage for each tile they've rolled. It's kind of a charge effect. So you want to dodge it and let them hit a wall. And here, did I quiver the? No, I didn't. Keep looking at the bolts, saying, "Oh yeah, I should use those bolts," and not quivering. Okay. Or if they hit another enemy. Alright, now I think I want to fight this Ironbrand Convoker, because now I have a couple of safe routes of escape. Like I can escape here, and then I would drag the monsters in here, and I can still use this staircase. Yeah, playing with the roller wheels. You can just like make a little game out of it, just sort of reverse bowling. Cool. So conjurations is naturally at 13. So we're only getting a 3.2 skill boost with that aptitude at that level. It's fine. I still think we're in a really good position. Yeah, okay. Oh, good. We're also okay. We're at max piety with Ashinzari. We must have just hit it. I kind of want to look at retraining again. I know I had talked about it in a previous video. I think it was the shields into something else that I was thinking. Just trying to think, because the Volts 5 is a pretty big chunk of experience. There's just a lot of high value monsters there. It's one of the silver linings of having it be brutally difficult and crazy. Really surprising the first time you see it. I do not believe I survived my first trip to Volts 5. Spellcasting seems like a really good option. I think we have enough. Yeah, that's what I'll switch crossbows into as far as training goes. Yeah, I feel like spellcasting is important here, just because we have access to a very wide variety of spells at this point, and we have. Let's do Great Mace of Holy Wrath. Oh yeah, we can't use it because we're a mummy. Oh yeah, that Pandemonium level would be real hard for a mummy too, or any undead. Good to know that there are monsters in there. That's kind of cool. Ashinzari helping us out again. Slime creature. Hopefully I don't make enough noise to be heard through this door. I don't know for sure. Definitely Orb of Destruction would be heard through the door. That I can say with some degree of certainty. See the gun, yeah. So, what can I use that'll deal the most damage to him here? Ooh, I cast Discord. That seems like a pretty good. Because maybe that'll stop the. Yes, it did stop the recall chant. Cool. That's a really good use of that spell. A non-line of fire, a essentially smite targeted multi-target use. Yeah, I've been having a newfound respect for Discord, for hexes in general. Between Takima's Dance and Discord, I'm glad that I have invested in hexes, which is not something that has been true very often in the past. Let's ease off the poison bolts. We don't have that many. Oh, black baller, keep on rolling, keep on shining on me. Start that a little bit too low. Oops. Here, I don't mind attracting some attention, although now I mind slightly more. Let's do this. Feel a bit more experienced. That's good to know. I don't know why that's mited. I guess there's an Orc Knight back there somewhere, probably. And maybe a Necromancer? Or, oh no, that was the Sorcerer. That's right. Yeah. There's the Orc Knight. Yeah, I like versatility a lot in this game. If you can use a thing for more than one thing, if you can use a spell, skill, or item for more than one purpose, you're just getting a lot of value. You are, equipment that does two things at once. Like my standard for what makes a good artifact is netting you 2 pips of resistance. So, for example, Fire Dragon and Ice Dragon armor give you 2 pips of fire or cold resistance respectively, but they also subtract a pip of the opposite. Hey Sungnif, welcome back. Glad to see you. Man, I really think it's cool that we've kind of got a little community that's sprung up around this. It's neat. I like talking with you guys. It's fun. I'm glad. Oh, whoa, that's not my friend. That's an Orc Knight. I was so excited to see you guys that I just ran right into an Orcish Knight. Although I'm not particularly concerned at this moment. I think we are beyond the point where we have to worry too much about the knights. When knights at the round table. Oh no, our zombie foolishly ran towards the fulminant prism. Well, let's put that there then. Oh, can't place a prism on a creature. I guess I won't put that there. Let's put that here. And here. And fire another one of these here. That ought to do okay. There we go. Chat has the power of life and death. I suppose it does, in a sense. I know you guys have provided me with excellent suggestions at points in this stream. That have certainly saved my life, I would imagine, or at least saved some resources that I would have otherwise had to burn in order to save my life. I'm just sort of clinking away with these bolts in hopes that they'll get into a more favorable setup here. There we go. So we're not kind of just burning so we're not just burning mana unnecessarily. Okay. Let's see. And that was with very resistant. Okay. I think very resistant is kind of the limit. Like, it's probably not worth it to try and Tukima's Dance if they are very resistant to hostile enchantments or extremely resistant. Somewhat, however. Yeah. Doing it. I'm doing really well, Sungnif. I've had a very good day, which I needed. It was a long week. But yeah, today's been really nice. Had coffee with my family, had lunch with my girlfriend, and now I get to stream with you guys. I mean, what more is there to life? An Annihilator. Here, I think an Orb of Destruction is appropriate. I just don't like getting hit with Mahudib's Crystal Spear. Not a big fan, gotta say. The dead are walking, I wonder. Nope, okay. A Vault Guard. Vault Guards are the least threatening of the Vault entities. The humanoid Vault Guardians. Yeah, they're just big tanks that can see invisible. Which has surprised me on more than one occasion. I don't really care if I alert things to my presence. What happened there? I guess I cast the orb into the wall. What? Why would you step in front of the... Come on, Griffin Zombie. You're just... Gotta do better than that. Ooh, big old steak. That sounds fantastic. I cannot argue with that. We don't have any fire effects yet, do we? No. If you're a melee character, yeah, I would say slaying as well. Pitcasters and crew were playing multiplayer. Yeah, I can't think of any situations where a +2 ring of strength would be better. Like if you really needed to carry stuff and you weren't using weapons. I mean, yeah, I guess scenarios where you want strength but don't care about your melee or ranged weapon would be the only cases. But yeah, +2 strength does not give you nearly as much direct damage benefit as +4 slaying. Um, so is the pit like is that a game that I just have not heard of because I'm out of touch with games? Most games in general. I keep up with League of Legends pretty regularly, or pretty well, and I keep up with Dungeon Crawl. Yeah, I don't think there are any situations like that. I suppose in earlier versions where item weight is a thing, there you might need the Ring of Strength to um, like if your strength is drained. Like that's one scenario. If your strength is being drained for whatever reason, like you're in the hells and you're getting sort of critically low, the most that anything can drain a single stat at once is 7. So if you are at, say, 6 strength and you want to be safe, you could put on the ring. Sort of the Stars of the Pit. Oh, okay, cool. All right. Interesting that it has a multiplayer. Vault Warden. These are the guys that can seal the doors and staircases. Ooh. What do I want to do here? I think I want to try and... I think I want to blink. I think that the number of tiles that are a good blink exceed the number of tiles that are a bad blink by 50%, 2-to-1 ratio, or by 100%. I don't know. 1/3 of the tiles we see are a bad blink, and that makes it an acceptable blink. There we go. With random blinks, with scrolls of blinking, they're glorious no matter what. But that's why they're a very limited resource. Don't Starve. Okay, yeah. Stanley Dudrich showed me a little bit of Don't Starve. It seems like a very interesting game. And I'll have to try out Sword in the Stars. Let me make a note of, because a lot of these things have been suggested, and I've been forgetting to write them down, and I really want to check them out. One of these times when I am too tired or whatever to play our main character here, I might check some out. Check some of those out. Don't Starve. I hear that is a thing. Oh, what was the other? FTL I need to get. I really want to get FTL. That seems like a whole lot of fun. Because what I want to do is I want to stream while I try out one of these roguelikes for the first time, so you can see what it's like when I'm just beginning. And what happened? I think that's fun. That can kill you? Oh no! You have a limited amount of this? Yeah, the Vault Wardens, or the Vault, whatever it was, Vault Wardens, can be pretty scary. Oh no! Vault Sentinel. Oh, that's right. Ooh. Yeah. These are the ones that can mark you. Lucky Luck Luck 2. Incredibly good. Nice. It's gotta be just so cool being the best at something that you do. Like you just there's a thing that you do where you are better than everyone else. I think that's really cool. I don't know that I have any of those. I mean, I'm sure I could come up with a purely arbitrary set of parameters where I am the only person that meets the criteria to be good at it, and therefore I'm the best at it. I'm sure if I thought hard enough, I could do that. But uh, of things where actually people check to see if it counts, I don't think I'm the best at anything. But I'm okay with that. Law of large numbers is kind of crazy, and being good at something is generally the point of where diminishing returns kick in. Or being great. There's a big difference between good and great. But between being great and being the best, I think there's a pretty hefty spike in diminishing returns. Oh no, he blows a signal horn. I feel like that's new. Signal horn. Why don't we Discord here? Huh. The Vault Warden just went crazy and ran off this way. So that's kind of cool. Um, I guess if they can see something in their line of sight, Discord actually. Ooh, that's cool. If that's true, that's cool. If it's just that it makes them run in a random direction, I don't know that that's quite as good. Um, oh, thank you. I'm glad I'm the best dungeon crawl player you know. Yeah, as far as I know, I am the only. Well, no, there were a few others. Fun Devil, I want to say, is someone who stopped in here a few times, who streams this game. Um, so I know there's at least one other. I feel like there have to be several. I know there are a lot of people that just play on the online servers that are very very good. Uh, so um, how do I want to do this? I could do Discord again. I really want to get in the habit of using Discord, or at least get into the point where I think of it every time I have a battle, because otherwise we're not getting the full use of 8 spell levels. We are wasting some of that resource. That's kind of why I use Discord or Bolt of Cold and Orb of Destruction so frequently over, say, Fulminant Prism, both because they're a little easier to use. Fulminant Prism takes some take some positioning work sometimes. Um, and it also doesn't play too well with our zombies. Oh, okay, I have not heard of either of those individuals before, but um, maybe I'll catch them. Generally, when I'm in the mood for dungeon crawl, I prefer to be playing and watching, but I do want to see. I would learn a lot, I'm sure. I learn from everyone who plays this game. There's not a single person who hasn't showed me something new or old. Because new players will sometimes go about learning the basics of the game in a different manner than I did, and so their approaches to different fundamental tasks will vary, and it's always really interesting for me to watch. Wow, that's a very select few. That sounds like a very difficult game. Yeah, I know that Dungeon Crawl is actually relatively forgiving um, as far as roguelikes go. Another one that's really good that if you are the kind of person who likes being able to win things, which I am, um, is Desktop Dungeons. I think Stanley Dudrich introduced me to that one as well, and it's good. I like it. It's much more compact. Like the levels are very small. You could still spend a lot of time on them if you want, but oh well. Hey, like the not being very excellent at this game does not mean that you are any less entertaining or because I'm sure that there are people that know this game far worse than I do that are just more fun to watch, and that's fantastic. I'm glad that there are all kinds of entertainers out there. Um, but I am glad that I do provide a source of instruction. I I enjoy teaching. I don't enjoy it enough to do it for a living. I don't think. Maybe if I could teach this for, I totally would. But I'm not nearly good enough with people to. I don't have the patience for groups of people to be able to teach. I don't know how to deal with people more than one. Skip the layer and won the game. Oh, that's cool. Interesting. That's a really cool challenge. I like it. What did he play as? Do you know? I mean, his race and background, if you know it, but well, like what style of character was it? I would assume. I don't know what to assume. I could see that being doable with a berserker. I could also see it being doable with a sneaky enchanter type, like translocations and enchantments and oh, you're a group. Cool. Ooh, Tomb and Pandemonium. That's really impressive. That's very impressive. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a toss up. There are some scenarios in which you want to do the Tomb or Pandemonium before you get the orb, or before you clear Zot. I generally prefer to clear all of Zot in like Zot 5. Yeah, Minotaur of Okowaru is quite strong. I really like that combo. Berserkers always die in the Elven Halls. Yeah, the Elven Halls. By the time you get to the Elven Halls, you have to have a secondary tactic as a berserker. You have to have like a ranged weapon with reasonable skill, or um, what else works? Evocations is a really good option. Uh, that's kind of it. Um, but you have to rely heavily on Trog's hand, the magic resistance god ability, rather than the berserking, because the the fact that they can kind of kite you around with spells is just really rough. You get exhausted a lot and die. So if you instead go a more kitey route yourself, like play it safe and kind of pull backwards and play almost like a spellcaster yourself, just with that magic resistance to keep you healthy, or you know pull them away one at a time, use Trog's hand to get the magic resistance, and kill them. I think that's not quite as nice as far as piety goes, because I believe that there's a piety cost. But yeah, I imagine that was pretty tough. That is very impressive. Congratulate him for me for sure. That's pretty neat. I don't know that Orb was the best spell to cast there, but yeah, okay, it got him. Just because I wasn't sure how those other two monsters were going to move, and so there was a reasonable chance that it would crash into them instead of the knight, which is what I wanted to hit. But it hit the knight, so it's fine. Warden. Yeah, you have to be careful because Wardens and Convokers look similar. They both have that gold armor. Convokers just have the cylinder heads rather than the cone heads with horns. There is a piety cost, yeah. Yeah, so you have to be really efficient to get through the Elven Halls. But the other thing, though, is that as a Berserker, you don't even need to do the Elven Halls. I mean, if you need the experience, fine. And if you need the shops, that's good. That's reasonable too. But you generally don't have to do Elf 3 for the shops. You don't have to do the final pod of Elf 3 at least, because really most of what's there is spellcaster stuff anyway. Like you'll find the occasional awesome melee weapon or plate armor or something, but it's generally not worth the resources you have to burn to do it. So you can absolutely skip that for a long time. There are easier places for you to tackle. Let's. Oh, zombies are gonna walk right into that, aren't they? Shucks. Oh, Discord, right. See, getting better about remembering. Yeah, I got 2 of the 3. That's pretty good. I feel like guards, somewhat, they're all just somewhat. Okay, so yeah, so Discord is probably the most efficient thing to do with 3 or more of those guys. Maybe even 2. 8 mana for 2 of them. Ooh, and we can try to Tukima's Dance this last one. See, yeah, if you have to cast 3 Tukima's Dances, you use more mana than Discord, 3 times as many turns. Okay, and now I do want to back off because the last one is the tough one. They're the one that is still mighted and hasted, but only has you to beat up. Splat. Splat. Quivering 15 steel bolts. I'm glad to see that. I really like steel bolts. Steel bolts. That's the Oklahoma right there. Steel bolts. 10 steel bolts. 15 more, that was nice. That'll last a long time. It's so nice out today. It's what's the conversion? It's about 65 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 20 or so. Yeah, about between 17 and 20 degrees. Not quite that high, maybe 15 degrees. Warm enough that you can go outside in a t-shirt if the wind isn't blowing and feel fine for as much time as you want. Snow today. We had snow 3 or 4 days ago. Oklahoma has very, very strange weather. highs and lows are not really predictable. Like we've had, I'm trying to think of what the biggest temperature swing in one day was. It went from, I think it was like 85 to 28 in one day. Something absurd like that. So that would be from about 32 degrees to -3 in a day. Plus, 40 mile an hour, 60 kilometers an hour wind. It's roughly double plus 32. It's Fahrenheit is 9/5 plus 32 to get from Celsius to Fahrenheit. You multiply it roughly by 2 and then add 32. So 0 degrees Celsius is 32 Fahrenheit. 100 degrees Celsius is 212 Fahrenheit. Yeah, 60 plus kph winds are they're uncommon, but certainly not rare. Most days the wind blows around like 30 to 40 kph, like 15 to 20 miles an hour. And then, when the weather gets real crazy, we get 160 kph winds, like shear winds and tornadoes. It gets real exciting. Real exciting? There you go. Really exciting. Real exciting. I don't know what's going on with. I know what it is. I've been speaking with a lot of clients on the phone, and I tend to pick up. I tend to pick up accents, like I absorb them a little bit, not enough to be able to imitate one properly, to speak fluently in a dialect. But 120 to 150 kph, yeah. So yeah, I would guess that if it's in the fall, you're somewhere coastal, like hurricane style, monsoon style. But yeah, many of my clients have a very thick dialect of various sorts. A death drake. I don't think we have to worry about death drakes. I think they just breathe negative energy. Oh, miasma breath. That's also not worrisome. That's weird. It seems like a death drake would be negative energy. Black dragons are negative energy. No. Fulminant Prism is not very good in these wide open spaces if you're messing around with summoned creatures. It's always weirded me out that these simulacra are a necromancy effect. Oh, Denmark, okay. Oh yeah, off the Baltic? Is that the Baltic Sea? Either the Baltic or the North Sea. But yeah, those winds I have heard are quite crazy. At least I've read about them in enough literature to that whole area. Very, very cold. Ooh. An arbalest freezing. Arbalests are the same as like regular Been forever destroyed by American films. Sorry about that. um, the Baltic Sea and the North Sea. Okay, all right. So I couldn't have guessed incorrectly there. That's always nice. I think here I just want to climb these stairs and rest up here. Maybe do one of these other entrances. I don't really feel like wading through a ton of crossbow bolts. I think one of my favorite, pretty sure he's Danish. One of my favorite League of Legends casters, Deficio, is, I think he's Danish. I really like his analysis. Well, it worked once. It worked once. Yeah, as long as you don't put it directly in front of anything, as long as it's not in their line of fire, it seems like Fulminant Prism is at its best in scenarios like this. Plus, we're probably pretty close to... And that's still 3 pips away from max spell power in pretty much everything, actually. Interesting. Ah, good. I'm glad I checked it. Can turn crossbows off. Let's turn spellcasting back on. Spellcasting does provide a spell power boost. And it's only a -1 aptitude versus a -2 like most of our stuff. Man, the low aptitudes thing is just really, really noticeable. I'm pretty sure by this point I had 25 in at least 2 skills. Well, maybe not 25. 20 to 25 naturally in at least 2 skills as my last character, the Minotaur. I guess that whole thing... No, it wasn't entirely on stream. That was the character with which I started streaming, but I think he was in the lair before I got him live. I really need to check and make sure that I can still transfer all those videos over. I would feel really bad if I accidentally let those slide. No. It's Discord. Yeah. Yeah, despite the... Oh no, that was a terrible idea. All those zombies walking right into the prism. That was not my best moment. I guess we can just control undead and let them fight it out with the things. The Yaktars. Okay. On range characters, yeah, that is absolutely true. You're right. The ammo thing is pretty tricky. One way to kind of avoid that is to worship Okawaru, who starts gifting ammo more frequently and sooner than he gifts armor. Um, the other way that I like to take with range characters is to have a handful of low-level utility spells. So one of my favorites is Repel Missiles. It's just level 2, it's charms and air, I think. But you only have to put, a small number, and clearly you don't want to do this with like a Minotaur or an Ogre. Um, yeah, that is definitely a way to do it. You play a melee background, and then just pick up the first ranged weapon you see. Instead of going hunter and switching to a melee weapon, you can go like fighter and switch to a ranged weapon. But yeah, having some of the low level utility spells is really nice. Swiftness is very, very good. I think that's a level 2 spell. Blink. I mean, just the stuff that's easy to cast that doesn't take a very large experience investment. Yeah, face tank with the hunter. Just throw on some heavy armor. Yeah. Troll, big stone throwing. Yes, large rocks will get you there. They will do work. You only have 5 stones. Yeah, that's rough. Save 'em for the big nasty threats. But trolls' claws are really good. Unarmed combat is a very, very interesting and exciting way to play the game. I really like unarmed combat. It's the it's the best late game scaling combat option, I think. Though there is an argument to be made um, for certain weapons, just because having the option to get an artifact, whatever, is kind of cool. Um, yeah, everything has it's a static percent chance to break. I don't know if it goes. I don't think it goes up the more you use something. I don't think it tracks it per individual piece of ammunition. Um, but yeah, there's a percentage chance that all ranged things will break. Scroll of enchant weapon. That's kind of cool. Yeah, it gets useful all the way up through. Um, Actually, I don't know if 26 to 27 gives you any increase in attack speed, but yeah, all the way through 26. The only other thing that I can think of that does that is the triple crossbow and maybe the executioner's axe are the only things that receive sort of maximal benefit, both damage, accuracy, and speed benefits through level 26. And those, the minimum delay is 1 turn. So even then, you're stuck with an attack that is not generally faster than the things you're fighting. So you fire grab. Okay. Oh, miscast. Interesting. Huh. That's what, a 1% chance? Yeah, 1%. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yes, you are correct. Thank you, Zombie. Zombie Robo Ninja 1. Um, hey, Dr. X. And welcome, Zombie. I don't recall if I've seen you here before, but if you have, welcome back. If it's a first time, welcome. Glad to see you. And Dr. X, it's always a pleasure. We are in Volts 3 here. Kind of been taking our time with it. I've been talking a lot today. My voice is more refreshed than it often is when I stream because I didn't have work today, so I didn't have to. Some days at work I don't have to talk to people, but that is infrequent for now. We're in the process of interviewing people for the position that I'm having to sort of do in addition to my normal job. Never seem to get notified when I go live. Huh. Have I been on long? I don't know that I've been on too terribly long. About an hour, I'd say. Maybe 45 minutes. Um, but a solid 20 to 30 minutes of that has just been me talking. So you haven't missed. This is the only level of the dungeon we've done so far. We are just now stepping into Vaults 4 for the first time. Interesting. Okay, so we came out in a sort of hallway. That's strange that you didn't get a notification. I don't know if there's anything I can do on my end to fix that, but if there is, please let me know. I'm just a little unfamiliar with Twitch. Hello. Ooh, +2 Helmet of Intelligence. Boom shakalaka. That is the best possible thing for us short of an artifact. We get an additional point of armor class, and we get 3 intelligence, which is delicious. It is, however, a trap right now. Huh, that is an odd bug. I assume the software must be incredibly complex. These guys are really easy. They're really weak. Let's just do this. And this. And then this. And then pull them back upstairs. Because we have some zombies. Cool. I mostly just wanted to cast some spells there for fun. That was really not the best way to do that. The best way would have been to walk back up the stairs and proceed from a different entrance that, didn't have critters surrounding us. Alright. +2 Helmet of Intelligence. This is good enough that I'm almost tempted to just head back to our stash and... But that's some talking gameplay. Well, I'm glad that you come for both. Come for one, stay for the other. The piety loss with Ashen Zarya is why I don't think I'm going to go back just quite yet. We're pretty strong. I want to have 2 reasons to go back to our stash when I go back. Like 2 new pieces of equipment or enough new spell levels that memorizing something new is relevant. Cool. Well, I'm glad that I entertain you guys. It's fun. It helps cure that little itch that I get sometimes from choosing a different path than an acting career. I did once think that was what I was going to be doing, but life sometimes takes you in unexpected directions. Not necessarily bad ones, but unexpected for sure. Okay. Yeah, Ironbrand Convoker. I'm not chanting the word of recall yet. That's right, they can might other as well. Blah. Okay. That was probably kind of a risky fight. My positioning wasn't great there. But, I've got a few zombies already that seem to be doing a reasonable job of... Okay. Longsword of Draining. We are not scared by Longswords of Draining. Yeah, I have a great deal of respect for teachers. I think it's... Oh, hey, we are extremely resistant to hostile enchantments. That's kind of cool. I have a ton of respect for teachers. My best friend is a teacher. And Mr. Dudrich is a teacher. A very, very, very good one. But it's so tiring for me. I can't do it. I can teach kids for a morning. I don't know. I've never tried to teach adults, really. But yeah, I just... Too draining for me. I can't do it. I don't know. Maybe when I get a little bit older. We'll see. Here, I think the prism is good. Because our zombies can't really get past that. that front line of enemies. Yeah, I feel like we're doing pretty well here. Ooh, I'm gonna see how these two prisms fare. And yeah, if they hadn't blown everything up, I was gonna use Discord. Ooh, don't want to fire through the zombie. Let's just Tukima's dance a couple of times. Ogres, one neat trick with ogres is that they are so weak to hexes. Ogres are super duper weak at hexes. Well, thank you. I am fortunate to have a lot of opportunities to learn things and ooh, no, I don't want to fire through the giant spike club. It is interesting to note that giant spike club will get mad at you if you. It's only very resistant to fire and cold. Pretty cool though. Tukima's dance. That's a branch that I don't miss. There used to be a place called the Hall of Blades, and you would find it in the vaults, and it sucked every time. It was always bad. There were just a bunch of just a bunch of animated weapons flying around. They were almost never good enough for you to want to be able to use them, and there were always enough weapons of draining in there that you would just lose a bunch of experience, or once they fixed that, you would just lose a bunch of skill levels and have to recover them. Uh, I suppose, yeah, it would depend on the subject. There just aren't too many subjects, I guess, that I am passionate enough about to want to teach it. Like dungeon crawl, yeah, I'd do that. I would like to teach a course on like logic and critical thinking, um, with like a little bit of mathematics in there, a little bit of statistics or statistical analysis at least. Maybe I don't want to teach statistics if I have to say it a whole bunch. Yeah, that seems miserable. The magic resistance trick does not hold true for the ogre magi, however, so be careful of those. But yeah, generally speaking, confusion, even wands as well, wands of confusion and paralysis, very strong against ogres. So if you encounter those early on, it's very efficient to use those resources on them rather than try and duke it out toe to toe and use potions of healing. Use your wand of paralysis or whatever if you have one, or even the low level hex spells. Granted, our hex skill is just bonkers. 20. It's really good. Uh, I shall sow chaos and reap death. Peace. You'll have fun. Whee! You I don't mind terminating with prejudice. With extreme prejudice. Ogres have single payer education. It's pretty funny if it means what I think it means. Yeah, I wandered a few extra steps there that I didn't need to. Got zapped a few times with a wand. Wand of slowing. I can probably just drop that. Oh, I didn't pick it up. Good, I already have those turned off. Yeah, without any points in evocations, not really interested. Oh, Europe. Good luck. Good luck with that. Hopefully it works better than our terrible system. I I greatly respect teachers, but apparently our government does not, which is super swell. Then again, maybe that's just a universal lament. Maybe now that we have the internet, education seems so easy in a way. Like, there's so much information out there that it seems like a natural thing to want to fund the ability to use it. Like, we have the coolest resource in all of human history at our fingertips. Like, it's the modern day equivalent to the Library of Alexandria, and I would say it's far beyond that as far as its importance. I want to do some more Discord here. Whee! I do split experience with them this way, though, which is maybe not the best, but okay, let's put it a little bit further away. Cool. I mean, I think those things are easy enough that we're not losing too much experience. We don't miss the experience loss. Also, we're pretty strong. We're not. I don't feel as strong as some other characters that I've played, but I think that that's because spellcasters in general just have a much later curve. +1 pair of gloves. Cute, but boring. Oh, plus our gloves are awesome. 2 pips of resist fire. I'll take it. Boom. No chance. No chance whatsoever. None at all. Alright, so here we can just kind of... We've cleared enough of the level that I'm not really concerned. I mean, this is a neat little pocket of dudes that I will definitely cast Discord on. Yeah, I got the Deep Troll Shaman. Somewhat, extremely, somewhat. No, we got a. Oh no, he's only 7. Okay. So let's just peace out. Something over there has a weapon of holy wrath. Why am I standing in the middle of an open area trying to attack things? This seems like a terrible idea. Very poor choice. Yeah, if you ever see a normal human without any weapon or armor or anything, it is almost invariably either a slave or a shapeshifter. Those were the worst 2 prisms I've put down in a while. Cool. Get a guy to help us. 162 hit points. Yeah. Yeah, well, I think that having access to knowledge and being able to efficiently absorb it are definitely two whole different realms. You know, I can hand someone a stack of books and say read these, but that doesn't that's not the best way to encode things. Like having another human teach you things, I think is very important because it's only 1 degree of separation. Like since books have to be written by someone, you're transferring knowledge to paper, and then someone else has to transfer paper to them. Whereas if you're teaching someone, it's from one person to another. So and you can sort of alter the style of just having it out there is not enough, clearly, but it is a tremendous resource, and I think a fantastic supplement to. Ooh, can apportation close doors? Let's try it. I'm just curious. I think it might only. Yeah, okay, it only summons objects. He's wielding a mace and wearing some kind of crazy shield. No, just a large shield. A normal large shield. Well, that won't block this, nor will it block that. Okay. No. Yeah, or the humans are skeletons. Humans are given a lot of flack in Dungeon Crawl, even though they're a perfectly fine race to play. +1 experience bonus and no bad aptitudes. I think their only non-zero aptitude is spellcasting at -1 or something like that. It's very solid. I guess I could look at it. Oh no, they have several at +1. That's cool. Stealth, invocations, and evocations are all at +1. Spellcasting is at -1. Everything else is 0. But the +1 experience boost is really nice. It's very noticeable. You get stronger a lot faster. I mean, with Formicids and Halflings and Kobolds, you have other challenges that make that rapid level gain seem like less of an advantage. But with humans, there's no such disadvantage there. It's their lack of natural defensive capabilities is offset by the rapid rate at which they can increase their defensive skills and use items, like good items, sooner. I think humans are very solid, and I have not played with them nearly enough. I ought to do so more. It's just even though they're very good, they're kind of boring. Like there's nothing all that special about them. See, that's my problem with demigods as well, is that they they have really interesting stuff going on, but you can't worship a god, and that's a giant disadvantage. And also, all their skills are just so bad, and they level at a -2, which is just so slow. I mean, their skills aren't bad, but considering that they already gain experience at a -2, and then their skills on top of that are all -1 or worse, it's just it's not worth the stats, you know? I really feel like they could do a lot more with that. I would, if I knew anything about coding whatsoever, I would do it myself. I would make I would revamp demigods. Although I guess like they are really like that setup is really cool for a challenge run. I mean, if you're going to do a no deity run, that is a reasonable race to do it with. So maybe like I don't know. And to be fair, having a giant boost to your stats is really nice. But I don't think it's enough to justify it. It's like what, 9 extra stat points or something? Well, plus a base stat bonus. So I guess, 19 or 20 stat points is significant. But it's not anywhere near, like Chambriodos gives you 45 at max piety. And considering that Chambriodos's other abilities are worth the movement speed penalty by themselves, yeah, no deity run would be really, really hard. I am not deity. I think it also can be deity. I don't think it has to be the hard E. Um, It is 3 syllables no matter what, though. I'm fairly certain. I'm not sure how you would pronounce it for me. There are a lot of words that that I have read and pronounce entirely differently, and before I hear someone say it out loud. A lot of cold. Oh, that's because there's another necromancer there. I was about to say a lot of stuff that's not particularly vulnerable to our bolt of cold here, but that's because there's a necromancer that has a similar setup to us. Deity. Okay. Deity. All right. It actually might be deity and not deity. I could be incorrect in that. I try to be. Oh, that's an Edinson. I wanted to be in line of sight. Okay. That was probably not the best way to go about that fight, but. Ooh, reciting word of recall. We'll just discord him. It's a metal wall. There we go. Boom. Just blowing things up because it can. Actually, that's a really bad reason to be doing that. Let's recoup. Man, it seems like it's getting tougher and tougher to hang on to Ashen's piety. We're not exploring at a rate that's fast enough to maintain. And that'll only get worse. Like the more we have to rest. Yeah. Yeah, I pronounce many things in a somewhat unusual manner. Just because I don't know. I hear a lot of different dialects on a daily basis, and I've traveled a lot. And the combination of those, along with just sort of the natural, like, I don't know that if most people have this or not, but I absorb, I think I said earlier, I absorb dialects. Not on purpose, I would rather I didn't. Um, yeah, a lot of words have just stuck in my vocabulary as a pronunciation that's either incorrect or just not anywhere. Oh, shucks. I got a Sentinel's Mark. Actually, that's fine at this point in the level. Sentinel's Mark just alerts everything on the level to where you are, so everything just comes after you one at a time or in large groups. As you can see, there they stream in. Da-da-da. It can actually be kind of nice if you're in a reasonably good location like we are here. Like a door with a somewhat hard corner. And yeah, you can pronounce things however you want here. People can and do. Yeah, I like the UK. Not a big fan of London, but the rest of it's pretty alright. Then again, I am not a big fan of big cities in general. I just it's too many people, too much going on. I live in a town of about 150,000, and that's as large as I ever want to go. I maybe should have thought this through a little bit better. There we go. Alright. Once we keep this up. Oh, no. Retreat. This direction. No! Oh, okay. I was about to say, curses, we were going to lose our zombie, but we killed him off anyway. Yeah, London is definitely just too big. And it's expensive. It's so expensive. I think it's the most expensive place I've ever visited, except for New York. New York City is more expensive, but that's it. Maybe Milan, but that's the kind of expensive that's like designer expensive. I feel like London and New York are just we're charging you a lot because there are a lot of people here expensive. Rip zombie. Poor zombie. Um, Trying to kind of conserve mana if I can. I did forget to tell them to start attacking again. That's why they were all over there. Ironbrand Convoker. I actually don't care if he finishes his Word of Recall this time around. But it didn't matter, because our zombies did some work. Milan is cheap. Okay, I suppose I should rephrase. The downtown area, the big touristy area, is very expensive. Yeah, rent in London. I didn't have to rent anything there. But I've spoken with people who have, and it's just and New York, the like having to find a place with a rent controlled apartment and like passing it on in your family or like for generations between roommates so that you don't have to pay $2,000 a month or something. Is Denmark pretty expensive with food? I guess there isn't a whole lot of land with which to farm, so I could see that having to import a lot of foodstuffs. Uh, okay, so this vaults level feels like it's going okay. I think vaults in general feel like they're going okay. I do believe that we can go ahead and do vaults 5. I don't think we need to like detour into the crypt or anything. Yeah, the rent controlled business. I guess there are several guys here. Yeah, I haven't just enough to cast Discord, and I think I will do so. Oh, well, that blink wasn't great. It's interesting that it won't auto-target the discorded people. We are actually in some trouble here. Let's try Wand of Disintegration. Ooh, ouch. Wow. Got ourselves into a kind of scary situation here. Frenzied and Insane means it's immune to fear. Oh, it has so little health left, but it's so likely that we'll just die. Huh. Oh, that's very strange. Okay. Yeah, just farms everywhere. I guess the land there has to be awesome for farming. I feel like most of Europe is generally pretty good. The flat parts are pretty good for farming. But tax on food, huh? I mean, I'm sure we have taxes on food as well, but we have a blink scroll. Blink costs 2 mana, so we would have to survive for gosh, I don't know when we ran out of mana. At least one more turn, possibly 2 or 3. Yeah, cheaper than a blink scroll for sure. Those are very nice to have. Yeah, I try to save those for. Uh, I mean, blink scrolls are one of the few things that can save you when you are guaranteed to die if you stand where you are standing, or not guaranteed, but so near guaranteed as to be really really scary. Um, Whereas like here, I mean, we're he can't do 63 damage to us in one hit. I don't think. Great Mace. Oh, but he is mited. I don't think he can do 63 damage, but he can do close. I mean, yeah, investing in evocation is it really. I don't need to do that. I just need to not get into stupid situations like this. I mean, this is what nominally our crossbow is for. Um, it's just this very specific situation where we have a high armor class. I guess we can use other bolts. We should go ahead and quiver bolts of poison um, while we're at it. Just disintegrate here and there. Yeah, I do like how casually you can just blow this thing up. Yeah, disintegrate's really good, but again, I feel like at this point we would be getting not enough return for our investment. A few points of evocations, especially early on, is nice, but we have so many things on our plate. We really do have a lot of things that we're trying to put experience towards, and I just don't feel like we need to add another skill. Same thing with stealth. The little bit that we have is good enough. I still don't know why it shows throwing on our skill thing. We haven't ever trained it as with unarmed combat. I don't know. It's weird. I guess because we could always pick something. Yeah, no, wands are great. In general, I love wands, but this particular character. No, I'm too scrubbed to play a real caster. Like I almost always end up going with some kind of hybrid. This is the first real caster that I've played in, the first pure caster that I've played in a very very long time. And even then, I'm not. Well, partly we were limited in our options because of the spell books we found, but I'm definitely not using spellcasting in an optimal manner. Okay, I'm just jabbering on instead of actually dealing with the problem in front of me. Which, okay, so the wand of draining is the most likely thing to kill him in one hit because it's based off of negative energy resistance and not hostile enchantments. And I believe it is only somewhat resistant to hostile enchantments, but I would rather take the guaranteed damage of draining over. So I think that's the best resource that we have for dealing direct damage. That was the second thing I was thinking of is shoot a poison bolt and blink if it fails. Um, the only problem there is that these guys do have pretty high armor class. He's not wearing a shield, which means that it's um, I'd say it's a coin flip. The problem with that is that the immediate damage might not be enough to kill him, and relying on the poison still gives him 2 turns to hit us. So we would possibly end up having to blink anyway if we use the poison bolt. It's also true for draining, but I think that with that amount of health left, the combination of draining the damage from the negative energy as well as the reduction in skill not only has a decent chance to kill him, but if it takes effect and doesn't kill him, reduces the damage that he can do to us on the backswing. So I think that's what we're going to do. Because they can see invisible, so that's not an option. Teleportation won't kick off rapidly enough. Torment can't kill something, it can only have their damage. Yeah, I think that's all our options. So let's do the Wand of Draining and see if that does it. Nope. Okay, yeah, we have to use a Blink Scroll, which is a shame. But I mean, that's really the only thing that I can think of there. So maybe Poison Bolt would have been the better option, but there's no way of telling really. Oh, wait, hold on. We have 2 mana. We can use the spell Blink. Which is more dangerous. What did he hit us for there? He hit us for um, 24 damage. It doesn't look like it did damage. I know you can kill things with that, though. Or at least you used to be able to. I do think that there is a chance that it does very little damage, but the draining effect still applies. I mean, regardless of how much damage it deals, as long as it deals damage, they are drained. However, that damage was clearly not very much. Yeah, let's try the blink spell. This is one of those situations where the correct choice for immediate survival is to use a blink scroll. However, we are really low on them, and the fact that I definitely yeah, that's what I think it is. I think you're right. If they lose, if they're if they're at below 1 hit dice worth of hit points and they lose that many, yeah, I think you're right there. Uh but yeah, I really want to do the extended endgame with this character. So our choice is between casting the blink spell and having a, let's see. If we end up blinking to within 2 tiles of him, so anywhere but there, we are in trouble. Like if it's in this radius here, I guess to here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's a 4x4, so 16 tiles out of the I forget what it is. Um, oh gosh, I cannot do this math in my head right now. I don't want to. Roughly a 30% chance that we'll get killed there. Yeah, because he's still hasted, so he can take 2 steps um, with our blink. This is my greedy nature here. The other reason why I'm considering this is why I'm considering the random blink is because if we were to do the controlled blink, I think the correct choice is there. Our other option is here. If we were to controlled blink here, okay, so let's think about it this way. In a range of blinks from death to ideal, where is the ideal blink? The ideal blink, I think, is here because we can go 1, 2, 3, 4 and have an escape before he takes, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we would be able to escape. Oh no, we can't do that. That is definitely not an option. You cannot escape downward into Vaults 5. Gross. Yeah, no, that's not the correct route. The benefit of this direction, I guess, then would be, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that doesn't really do anything for us. That would so if we blinked to here, basically all it would do is give us a few extra mana points, probably 2 extra mana points. So with the controlled blink, we get that ideal scenario, use a scroll, have more mana available to kill him. Here, is another option. That also has the potential. It doesn't really have the potential of that much of a line of sight break, though. And still not really anywhere to escape to. And there really is no other option here. Oh, wait. Abilities. What abilities do we have? No, nothing that will help us here. Okay, so assuming we use a controlled blink, what's the next spell that we cast? Tukima's Dance? Probably. It's the spell we can cast the soonest, and I think has the highest upside. It provides us with another target for him to attack and a source of damage simultaneously. That has to be the right way to do this. Yeah, that has to be the correct choice. I think that guarantees us at least another 5 turns. Whereas a random blink, we can just die. Because I'm pretty sure he can do 40 damage to us, even drained. With Might and a Great Mace. Great Mace base damage is 18. It's not enchanted. Ashen would tell us if it were enchanted, so it is just 18 damage, but I don't know what their strength bonus is. Might is, I think, 150% damage. So let's assume that he can do 36 damage for sure. We're only at 39. So we clearly cannot take 2 hits. Or cannot risk taking 2 hits. Yeah, I think we have to blink. I hate using them. But this is what they're there for. I mean, 4. Okay, yeah. Did I count that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I didn't. Oh, no, that's 5, because the blink was a turn. We still can't get to here. But we do have the mana for Tukima's Dance. Question is, if it fails, what do we do? Because he will be here. Ugh. This fight is so hard. I think Tukima's Dance is the correct choice. He is only somewhat resistible. Yeah. Alright. Did it. Alright. Yes. Okay. Whew. That was too close. Should not have let myself get into that situation. Easily avoidable from well before the fight started. I made many missteps along the way there. But we survived. Did have to use a blink scroll, but that's okay. We have 2 remaining. That's totally fine. Alright. Onward. Cool. Well, we're down to Vaults 4. Yeah, draining again was an option. I think at that point I would have gone with the crossbow bolt over draining. Yeah, hashtag tier. See, if that hadn't become just a colloquialism, it would be very valid for this game. But yeah, I just Okay, alrighty. So, monsters nearby. Let's see what those are. Let's make really sure that Vault 4 is clear. Hello. These little crosses are just really good for dancing around things. The first drain, yeah, it probably was a mistake. I just, yeah. You think it was the poison bolt? Or just, I mean, it's possible that the correct choice there was just blinking. Well, we didn't have spellcast blink available to us. I mean, it did successfully drain him, but I would have to know more, I think, about the damage available there. Like, is the max, is the best that draining can do better than the best that my poison bolt could have done? Lacking that, I think what my mistake was there is overvaluing the post drain reduction in his skills, which maybe maybe that hit of 24 damage or whatever he got us for, maybe that would have been a lot higher without the drain. I don't know. It is. Oh, and yeah, it did make it easier to hit with the dance axe. Okay, so there was some utility to it. But yeah, maybe not enough to justify. Okay, so here's what we can do. This Vault Warden has about the same amount of damage left on it as the other one. We are in a better situation. We can afford to experiment. So let's try firing a bolt. It's not going to be exactly the same because I don't think we have time to discord for a turn. Because we have this human zombie that's going to be hitting it. Okay, so assuming that, let's say that this was the situation from before, minus the human zombie hitting it, so he would still be at normal hit points, but he'd be poisoned. And that's with a mace of a thing of protection. So the poison not doing much damage. I guess the bolt, yeah, the bolt didn't do a ton of damage there. So it might not have been effective either, but just probabilistically speaking, I think you are right that I should have shot the bolt. Because really we couldn't have necessarily, yeah, the poison, I mean, they might be resistant or they might just have, they could have damage shaving. I doubt that highly, but they might just have enough hit points that a single bolt of poison is not going to do it. Okay, so let's pick a staircase. Pick a staircase, any staircase. Where do we want to do this? I what I usually like doing, and I don't see anything here to cause me to deviate from this pattern, is going down the. Could have pained twice. Yeah, I really haven't been impressed with Pain's effectiveness lately. Um, well, I really would have only been comfortable painting once, and we did only have the one mana point. The problem with Pain there is that it does using our mana for that does completely eliminate the random blink as an option, which probably I could have eliminated that from my list of choices from the start, given that he was hasted and given our hit points. But yeah, I did kind of chase that pipe dream, didn't I? Probably Pain would have been appropriate there. Though post Blink we wouldn't have been able to use Tukima's Dance. I don't know. It's not sure. That was a tough decision. I think it was close no matter what. I'm glad we survived, but I think the correct decisions that I needed to be making were much earlier than there. That is an interesting scenario for a small variance decision. but I screwed up on a bunch of the big variance decisions. Ah, it's Vault 5!